Game 7, once again, Steve Simmons, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Boston Bruins are heading to Boston for a do-or-die game. And you know what? Forget about what happened last year. Forget about what happened in 2013. Steve, what is going to be the difference between the Toronto Maple Leafs winning and losing this one?
Well, I think, first of all, they have to kill some penalties. And that's been a problem the entire series. If they don't kill penalties better, they're not going to win the series. The other thing is they need production from their best players and their stars. Mitch Marleau was their leading scorer during the season. He hasn't been productive enough in the series. John Tavares was the leading goal scorer. He hasn't been productive enough in the series. They both have played okay. They just haven't done it production-wise. And if you don't do that, you don't win Game 7.
This is a series where no one has been able to string together 2 wins in a row. What does that tell you? Does that tell you that these teams are so evenly matched, or that the Leafs and Boston Bruins are both searching for consistency?
No, I think that this is a real close series. And these are really close teams. And these are very even teams. And that's why for the second year in a row, even though this is a different Leaf team, they're playing a 7th game. And I think that's the real difference. And the biggest difference also is last year the Leafs were chasing the series. They were always a game behind or coming and they caught up, and then they went to Game 7. This year they've been sort of the forerunner. The Bruins have been chasing the series. So the Leafs had the opportunity yesterday to put this thing away and weren't able to. And I think that tells you a lot about how even these teams are.
Well, the Leafs don't have Nazem Kadri in the lineup, but they do have Patrick Marleau, and he's a guy that I'm going to circle right now and say this guy has to step up if the Leafs are going to win. You know, he could be a difference maker if he finds that so-called fountain of youth in a water bottle. For you, who are you looking at in terms of, aside from the big guns, who needs to really play their best game tomorrow?
Well, I think they need something from that third line. They haven't got a lot. Marleau's on that line. He looks like a dead body, frankly, when you watch him play. Connor Brown has lost sort of his offensive ability, if you want to call it that. So puts an onus on William Nylander, who was paid all that money, and he's produced at about 40-point pace, both playoffs and regular season since then. And that's not good enough. They didn't sign him to be that kind of guy. They signed him to be a 60, 70-point guy. He needs to be that in Game 7.
Well, we'll see how it turns out. We'll see if any of those guys do step up. We'll see if Mike Babcock can outcoach Bruce Cassidy. What we do know, Steve, is that it's going to be a hell of a game. These Game 7s are epic, and follow the National Post, Toronto Sun, all of Post Media News for all the coverage. I'm Michael Trikos. This is Steve Simmons.